Hey guys, how you doing? This is Craig here from Bass Lessons Melbourne, and this episode of the player profile interviews is actually coming to you from Berlin. I'm joined by René Flächsenhaar.
Hey everybody.
Who some of you might know from the Bass the World YouTube channel, and if you haven't checked that out, then you definitely got to go and check that out. René is the voiceless bass demon on that channel, checking out all this awesome gear. So René, it's really great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Thanks for taking the time out to take part of this. So maybe just to start off with, you could tell us a little bit about how you got started playing the bass out here in Berlin.
Sure, no problem. I think I started the bass when I was around 20, so pretty late.
Yeah, right.
Pretty late somehow, and it was, you know, a story like you hear really often before, you know.
A band.
Start with a guitar.
Okay.
Or it was not good enough on a guitar at that time, but the band was looking for a bass player, so I filled this spot, and recognized after the first 2 or 3 years that I really like to play bass, you know. But it took some time, you know. At first it was a little bit okay. It's a guitar with 4 strings, and but after 2 or 3 years I was really into it, and
Yeah, and whereabouts was that were you in Berlin at that point?
No. I was born in a small town 100 kilometers away from here, in the north from Berlin, and at this time I was living there, and it's like really often, you know, you start a band with some school friends and some rock, heavy metal.
Yeah. Okay. So your influences back then, was it rock, heavy metal?
I mean,
stuff?
I started the bass really with bands like Korn, Sepultura, Pantera.
Cool.
That was stuff that I was really into at this time. You know, I'm not really bass playing wise, just musical wise. So that it was stuff that I hear at this time. But also, you know, it took some time when I started with the bass. But after a few years, I discovered stuff like the Chili Peppers and Jamiroquai, Bob Marley.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Aston Family Man Barrett is this guy's wrote so much great bass lines. I mean, the Marley bass lines are so complex.
Yeah.
I mean, not only pattern-wise, but also feeling-wise. You know, it's something. It's really special to me.
It's it's almost maybe along the same lines as somebody like Jamerson, in terms of the feel and the trying to copy that is really, really difficult.
Yeah, sure.
And thinking about those heavy bands, like especially maybe bands like Pantera and Korn, they definitely had a kind of groove to them.
Sure.
You know, and I'm wondering if because of that, you know, it maybe influenced how you play, it maybe affected how you play bass, and that it had that kind of powerful pocket. That it's a heavy groove, but it was still a pocket.
I mean, what always was interesting to me in music, or what always gets me when music makes you bounce.
Right.
You know, no matter if it's hip hop or acid jazz or heavy metal or new metal or I don't know what. You know, it's always when you have this impact in the band. You know, when everything is locking. You know, maybe not that perfect looking, but you're creating this tension with your band members, and make the people bounce around you, and the people in the crowd or the people that hear in your cities. That's the stuff that really interests me and that really gets me. Yeah.
And were you getting bass lessons?
No, not at all. As I said before, I started at the age of 20, and it was something like a self-test. You know, that's not really a self-test, but I would start playing bass, and I mean, pretty early in my life, I think around 12 or 13 years, I had the idea in mind already that maybe I want to do music in my life. But
at 12 or 13?
12 or 13, yeah. But it took another 7 years to go to this point, you know, to really start with a band, you know, and all the stuff, because it was always like an idea, you know, just something that's somewhere
like I want to be an astronaut.
Yeah, pretty right. And
It's like bass playing astronaut.
yeah, but I started it, and then for sure it was really some years of hearing a lot of records, try to transcribe the stuff, watching tons of YouTube videos.
Okay.
You know.
So you were lucky enough to start when YouTube was a thing.
Yeah. At this time, YouTube was already a thing, and then you got some videos from Wooten, you know. And
that's maybe not the best place to start. Inspirational.
Yeah, inspirational. It was really to me.
Yeah.
You know, I was lucky enough at this time to find some stuff on YouTube, and also a lot of friends are feeding me with some music all the time. You know, man, just hear this. The bass part is amazing, because they all know that I started playing bass, and so they try to give me some stuff where
That's
I can
cool.
work with. Yeah.
And were there any particular bass players at that time that you really kind of got stuck into learning?
I mean, I think at this time, I mean, what I really played a lot was the first 3 Jamiroquai albums: Emergency on Planet Earth, Space Cowboy, and Traveling Without Moving. These 3 albums, I guess Stuart Zender was a bass player, and it's amazing to me. You know?
Yeah.
Flea,
Okay.
for sure. I mean, Blood Sugar Sex Magic was also an album, and the Californication album. These 2 albums, I tried to discover all the stuff he did.
Yeah.
And for sure, as I said, Family Man from the Wailers, from Mali. Yeah, a little bit of Flea, and also the guy, what's his name, from Limp Bizkit, the bass player. You know him, Sam
Rivers?
Sam Rivers, yeah, right.
With the 6-string Warwick?
Yeah. I mean, this bass line, I don't know, the song,
Yeah.
crazy hook, man, so quick.
Not on $3 bills, y'all, that's the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, but those guys. So always somehow a mix between groove,
Rock, punk rock.
Yeah. But I have to say that in the last years, the rock stuff going a little bit beside.
Yeah.
Going a little bit beside.
I think generally the more you delve into bass and bass playing, in terms of developing it and expanding, you're going to move away from the rock stuff, so to speak. You're going to get more into the jazz and the soul and maybe the fusion stuff.
Maybe, I don't know, because the thing is, I just stop listening to rock music, not because it's not interesting to me anymore and stuff like this, because there are always bands who are killing.
For sure.
The day has just 24 hours, you know, and I don't have that much time each day to listen to music, and there's so much more to discover.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that I discovered the whole rock thing, you know, but because that's, you know what I mean, you know,
I know what you mean.
music is that big, you can't discover everything.
Sure.
I'm a little bit into what's this? Even
that's good.
During the last years, I'm really into African music.
Yeah.
Especially West African music, because I was down there in West Africa and Senegal and Gambia on tour with a Senegalese female hip hop artist called Sister Fa, and we went there 4 times on tour. And that really, the first tour I think is 8 years ago now. It was 8 years ago, and that was really the first time when I came really in touch with African music. You know, I mean, Dakar, the capital city of Senegal, is a hotspot for every kind of art concerning West African art.
Okay.
Really, because it's somehow the gate to the Western world, to France, to England,
Sure.
from there to the States or somewhere else. And so you have a lot of artists, a lot of photographers, a lot of musicians, a lot of graphic designers,
In
fashion.
Dakar, is that?
Yeah, in Dakar, and also a lot of musicians, and you can see there nearly every evening. Such amazing bands, you know. And when I get the first time in touch with it, when I see a band there, it was a jazz club called Just For You Jazz Club, African Music Club, I don't know. And really the first time when I go there and saw the band, it really amazed me because they also got this bouncing stuff. You know, it really makes me what?
The rhythms,
what?
right?
But where's the one?
Yeah.
Where is the one? I don't know. Okay, but yeah, it's really great.
Yeah. No, I had a similar revelation with that. And not that I've been to West Africa, but Paul Simon Graceland's album was one of my favourite albums, you know, musically and bass-wise. And so I kind of wanted to find out more about that style of bass playing, and I found this book, I don't know if you've came across it, called Secrets of the African Bass.
Okay.
Secrets of the African Bass by Alaji Toure, I think.
Okay.
A few of my students, I use it, and it's great. It takes you, it's kind of like, if you've ever checked out that book, Funkifying the Clave, Lincoln Goines, the kind of funky Latin one. It's a similar idea in that it goes, this is the traditional rhythm.
Yeah.
So you maybe got 4 or 5 different rhythms, like different clave rhythms you would do. And so you memorize the rhythms, and then there's like a bunch of exercises and bass lines based around those rhythms. And it starts off relatively simple, you know, whatever. But then it goes into all this kind of 9/8, 6/8, 12/8 stuff that when you see it written down on paper just looks terrifying. And then so you really have to just listen to it, which is obviously how that music is learned and how it's passed down. It's not written down, it's an oral thing. So that was really eye-opening in terms of the African rhythm and how deep it went, you know. And obviously that's, you know, had a massive influence on the roots of jazz and blues and the Western R&B music since. So yeah. So back when you were starting out playing, what were you playing on? What kind of bass and stuff did you have?
I think the first bass that, the first bass that I played on was, there was in my hometown was a place where you can go to rehearse when you are a band of school friends, you know. You have there exactly one spot per week, just 2 or 3 hours to rehearse there, and they had a bass there. Okay. And I used this bass, I think, the first 2 years.
Just for 2 or 3 hours a week?
Yes.
Not
Shame on me, but it's...
Wow. So you were learning in the practice room?
No, just playing. You know, just playing. I mean, I have recordings from back then. You know, it's really funny to hear it. You know, it's really funny because it's so funny. But then I think after 2 years, a friend of mine was going to Berlin to buy guitar. And he already knows a big shop here in Berlin and said, man, maybe you want to come with us. Me and my father going down there to buy a guitar for me, so maybe you can buy a bass. And I was there with him and buy the Yamaha RBX 360. Ooh. I think that's the
PJ or PJ. Okay.
PJ bass. And that was really the first bass that I had. 4-string, and I played it for let's say 5 years, something like this.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at this time I didn't
know any different.
I have no clue I really have no clue what's out there, you know, concerning bass guitars, bass instruments. Yeah.
And so when did you move down here to Berlin?
Moved to Berlin 2002.
Okay.
So then that's 15 years now. Oh, pretty long time. I moved to Berlin 2002, and the funny thing is that I moved to Berlin just because of getting a little bit boring in my hometown, and you know, it's a small town in the east of Germany, and cultural-wise, it's a little bit
small town.
It's a little bit dry land.
Sure.
You know? So I was always interested in going to Berlin to see some concerts of some famous bands and stuff like this. And one summer, I fell in love with this town. Yeah. Because in the winter it's really pain in the ass, but in summer it's somehow really beautiful because you have much life on the streets, a lot of people out there, and somehow I fell in love. And so in my head grows the plan, hey man, let's move to Berlin and start studying bass on the Berlin Jazz School.
Oh, here we go.
Then I went here. I moved to Berlin in 2002, and 2 months later I went to the jazz school. Just that they give me the informations, what they need from me or what I have to prepare to make
entry.
Yeah, the entry. And it was a list, and it was really like. Because at this time I can't read music,
Right.
I don't have a trained ear or stuff like this, It was I was really on the beginning, on the start, and so okay, let's leave this. And lucky enough, I was 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, a friend called me that was already in Berlin, I think since 10 years or something like this, and he built a studio here in Berlin, and get in touch with a gothic metal band, and they searching for a bass player at this time, and so I get.
And they needed somebody cheap.
And so I get in touch with them, and they said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I guess it was not about my bass playing; it was a little bit more about my look, because, as I said, they were a gothic metal band, and at this time I had a really long beard.
So this is longer than.
Much more longer
right,
than
okay.
this, and really long hair.
Okay.
And so Ryan, just from the look, I was fitting perfectly. Just paint my face white, perfect. And so I went on tour with them.
So not quite Berlin Jazz School.
No. Just straight
metal band.
Straight to gothic metal. So maybe you get an idea how much I have to discover at this time, because
Sure.
Berlin Jazz School, gothic metal band, it's so far away from each other. But both was an option for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so I went on tour with them, and
Do they have a name?
they called Kamikaze 52.
Kamikaze.
They split up, I think. 3 or 4 years until I entered the band. Yeah, I think. And but they had a deal with a label and the booking agency and stuff like this. They don't pay me anything for the gigs, but I was on tour, and that was really, really good for me, because I discovered that it's more or less the thing that I want to do, being on tour and being in a studio. Because I also make some recordings, my really, really first recordings when that's a studio, you have to go there, plug your bass in.
Back when that was still a thing.
Yeah, producer and all the things, it was really, whole new world has opened up for me. But I discovered with this band that's the stuff that I want to do.
Cool.
So I'm really happy to meet these guys, and we played for 3 years, stuff like this. Yeah, something like this. 3 years, and then came a long period where I played with own projects. Tried to give them a good start. Not really successful, and then came a point where I said, okay, I have to cut this and see that I can get some money for my daily living, because it was at this time it was pretty hard for me to make my daily living.
Yeah. Did you have a job or just?
Yeah, I'm jobbing from time to time, and also the social system in Germany. If you not have a job or if you not have a daily income, they support you.
Okay.
But it's
as a musician or just anyone?
No, not as a musician, as just
okay.
Yeah. And before I start playing music, I was I did a regular job, so I had a right to contact them, to contact the social system that they maybe support me money wise, but it was not that lucky time for me at all at this, because if I mean, it's called social system, but somehow I got a feeling that I begging for money, you know, and that's really not what I want to do. So I stopped these band things and said, okay, I have to do something different, and really wasn't sure about it at all. But I started playing jam sessions here in Berlin. Not really as a guy who came into the club and just entered the stage. As every jam session, maybe around the planet, you have a jam opener, an opening band.
Yeah.
And at this time, some of my friends doing this opening stuff in some different clubs here in Berlin, and they hired me for some jam openings, and I did this just 1.5 months or stuff like this, and then I had a lot of new numbers in my pocket.
Yeah.
And also people getting to know me, and another 3 months later the phone starts ringing.
And you're learning different styles of music and improving your ear especially.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning I did a lot of cover music.
Yeah.
Which was a really good training, I think, because so much styles, so much great bass players that you discover.
Yeah.
Or I discovered, and it was a good training. So that from this on, it went to more in this direction, that I played with original artists, and it moves somehow really away from the cover scene. Mm-hmm. Just to playing as a sideman with some original artists and playing in a studio. So not teaching. Yeah. I'm not teaching. At the moment I don't do cover gigs at all. Just playing as a sideman, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy.
That's pretty special.
Yeah, it is because, you know, for me it's always, you know, if you stay on stage with an artist, this guy trusts you somehow. He trusts you, or she trusts you, that you will support his vision or her vision of music, you know, and which is a big thing, and it's really important to them, and it's really important to me that I can somehow try to fulfill their visions, you know, and it's still really special to me.
Yeah, as they say in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And as bass players, that's, you know, we have a lot of control and power over how the music goes. Yeah. But thinking about being on stage with an original artist and supporting them, have you ever found yourself in a position where you've been there and you just don't dig what they're doing, what it is, but it's a gig, and then you could be back in the same position as playing the cover band thing, where it's maybe not exactly what you want to do, but it's paying the bills? Or have you been fortunate enough to kind of, most of the original artists have been music that you actually are keen on?
I mean, to play music and to hear music is, for me, it's totally different.
Right.
And I can have the most fun playing music that I never listened to at home. When you have great hang with the guys, and the band is great, you know, and the vibe is cool, I really don't care about the music somehow, because I know it will be fun. That's my experience. It sounds a little bit strange, but
I understand. I think that's, to some extent, especially as a bass player, as a sideman, you have to have that element where you can't like everything that you do. But I can't remember who was talking about it, but there's the three things it has to check to say yes to the gig. It has to be either great music, great hang, great money. Mm-hmm. 2 of those things, you do the gig.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, cool. So, that transition from playing the jam sessions to the touring artists in that tight financial period, how did the Berlin scene seem then compared to now? Like, if you were to come to Berlin now, do you think you could do the same thing?
I think you can do this still today.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this. I've seen this in the past 4 or 5 years with other bass players, other musicians came to town. Really pretty new, and they're doing it in a couple of months or stuff like this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because I know in a lot of cities, the live music scene really suffers with venues closing down, and
it's the same here.
Same here, but
it's the same here.
Yeah.
But you know, if you got something to offer,
sure,
that the people want to have, no question.
That will always be the key, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you kind of started playing bass, and YouTube was an aid for you, and now you're a YouTube star.
I don't know if I'm a YouTube star, but
yeah. So it's that interesting. It's kind of come full circle, and now you're probably inspiring a younger generation of bass players. I'm sure there's guys out there trying to figure out the latest René Flächsenhaar riff.
From time to time I get messages from people all over the planet who ask me, man, can you give me a lesson about this lick where you played there? And
do you have the tab?
Yeah, or I have a tab. Sure. Yeah, I mean this question comes really often. And then, it's amazing me, but I never think about it that way. That somehow the things turn. That now I'm a guy on YouTube who plays for other people.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I don't think about it.
Yeah, it's probably best. Probably best. How did you get connected with Gregor and the whole Bass the World thing, and what's it been like?
Yes, some years ago, my long-time girlfriend makes the decision to move to another city called Weimar. 300 kilometers away from here in the south of Berlin, to study, to make vocal studies.
Okay.
And we both had a relationship till then, I think till 7 years or 8 years. And she made the decision, okay, I have to study vocals because I want to really get down with it. And I really appreciate this decision. So I tried to visit her one time at least every month.
Okay, yeah.
And so for a few days, and so I went to Weimar and visited my girlfriend, and met another guy from Berlin there on the street, another bass player from Berlin, and which I was in touch over years. I never heard. I heard nothing about him. So we figured out that he moved to Weimar some years ago, and he knows Gregor from Bass the World, and said, if you now in Weimar from time to time, Gregor, this guy from this online channel, YouTube online channel, Bass the World, he's searching for some demos, some guys who play demos for him. And at this time it was, okay, I'm in Weimar. Some work is ringing. Why not? Let's try it. And he gave me the number of Gregor. I called him. One day later, I was in the studio, and we had a hang, talk, played a little bit, and then we did first video. And he was pretty happy with it. And from that on, it turns on. Yeah. And then now I have to say, Gregor really became a close friend of mine. He's such a sweet guy, really a sweet guy, and really honest, and even tells you when we don't like what you're playing, which is really great.
That's cool, yeah.
And
still with the girlfriend?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
still worked out?
For 14 years now.
Wow.
14 years. I'm still in love. It's great.
That's awesome.
It's great.
And what was that first video that you did? Can you remember?
Yes, it was a P bass, Japan, Fender Japan, built in Japan, P bass, a brown one with golden hardware. That's the thing that I know from this video.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 2012, I think, December 2012.
Okay, so 5 years.
It's I mean, time passes by.
4.5 years.
Yeah, 4.5 years. Yeah.
Cool. Any highlights from it that you?
Sure. I mean, It's a highlight every time to meet luthier. And when they visit Gregor's studio to bring some instrument there.
Okay, so all the time you get to meet the guys. Who
Not
make
all
the
the time. I mean,
a lot of the time.
A lot of the time they send it via post or
Sure.
stuff, and but from time to time they are there.
Cool.
And it's always great to talk with these people because it's another point of view. You know, it's the same instrument, but totally another point of view.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing, and also what's really great was to travel to the bass camp, Warwick bass camp. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah.
And with all these great bass players, you know, there, and we were there to do some videos for Warwick, and and Gregor shoots some videos with the guys who are there as professors at the bass. What can I say? You know, it was amazing to see these guys really in real time. You know, Bakita Kumalo.
Yeah, Bakita Kumalo.
The guy who played on the Graceland record.
Yeah.
You know, to see him there. You know, and have his music in mind. I mean, his lines in mind. You know, that it's really
Special place. Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. That was really a highlight. Also, a highlight was 2 years ago. We did a little tour to the Netherlands to make there some company portraits for Adamovich basses. I don't know if you know them. And De Gier basses.
With the Gier.
Yeah.
Okay. De Gier.
Yeah. And Nikola Adamovich is a really nice guy and so into bass building. The same with Zander De Gier. These both guys. It's great to go to their workspace, and it's special to me because these guys are having such a strong vision of what they're doing, and try to really go to this vision to the end, and they're building great instruments. They're really building great instruments.
I mean, you get to play. You scroll through the videos, and you just the range of basses that you've had the chance to play.
Yeah.
How has your credit card survived? You know, just go.
Sure.
Nothing there that you kept. Anything from those videos that you ended up with?
I mean, I never buy the bass.
Yeah.
Never buy the bass, but for instance, the guys from Music Vox.
Is that the Space Ranger?
Space Ranger, sure. And they also built a bass called Space Cadet.
Okay.
And I really liked it because it's somehow, we did a demo for it, and it's somehow old school sounding, a little
short scale,
really boomy bass, you know, and it sounds pretty good to me, and I really like the design. And so I ended up with them.
Okay.
And the dark glass pedals, great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Solid Gold FX. I don't know if you know them. Great stuff. I ended up with. First time I get in touch via Bass the World with Gully Strings, Italian string factory.
Federico. No, he's IQS. Galley Strings. I'm not sure who else I can think of that uses Galley Strings. Do you know?
Dino Fiorenza, I don't know. Yeah, the crazy tapping guy from Italy.
Okay.
Who uses a lot more guys, and they want from Bass the World a string comparison, and so we did a string comparison and played the strings and said yes. Really.
Like a blind test for you, or you knew what was what?
Yeah, I know what was what.
But used to be, yeah.
Yeah. It was really great because they have tape wounds, they have flat wounds, they have nickels, they have stainless steel, you know, and all the stuff, you know, and it's a pretty wide range of strings, and it was really interesting to me to get in touch with them, and also coated nickels, and that's for sure that's strings that I use the most from them, coated nickels, because I used them for 2 months or something like this on every bass, and then I need a new set. But for these 2 months, they are really solid.
Yeah,
really working horses.
And you've got the Zandberg.
Yeah, Sandberg.
How did you come by that?
Actually, the first Sandberg I was buying in a normal store.
Mm-hmm.
It was a black one, a 5-string jazz bass from them, California series. Then I was a little bit more into the P-bass style sound, I don't know why it changed, but somehow till now I'm a little bit more interested in P-basses. So I got the idea in mind, maybe it would be great to have a 5-string for them, just P-bass. And so I get in touch with their artist relation manager, and it was really easy. I just put down a mail with a list with the artists I play with, what's the tour dates for the next year,
Sure.
what's the releases, and what kind of videos are on the way, and, stuff like this. And they said, no problem, let's do it. And Zandberg is a really cool company. It's a really cool company. I really like it, because I bought the first one in the shop because I was take a look around me to all the bass players that I know, that I like, especially here in Germany or in Europe, which are a lot on tour, and take a look on them what they play. And at this time, a lot of them using Sandberg instruments. And so I tried 1 or 2 basses and make the decision. Okay, let's buy one, and then luckily I got the endorsement deal with them.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice.
So what are the specs on this? What is it? It's 5 strings.
It's 5 strings. Hamburg. I'm really bad at this. If you ask me what kind of wood
on,
I
off.
don't know, man. I really don't care. I just plug it in, and if it sounds, it sounds. If it not. That's the
Sure.
thing. I never try to discover why it sounds. Shame on me, but it is.
No.
What it is.
If it works, it works. Cool.
Sorry, Sandberg. Great bass, but I don't know what it is.
And amp wise, what do you use?
Honestly, in the last years, no amps.
Just hired or just in-ears?
Just in-ears.
Nice.
Just in-ears, no amps. And at the beginning, it was a little bit strange to have this kind of studio vibe on a live stage.
Miss some energy?
No. I think maybe in the first month, but somehow it makes the situation for me a little bit more easier, But I guess every one of us knows the situation when you come to a venue and the venue sounds really boomy, and the drummer hitting the snare and you're hearing 2 or 3 snares. The same with the bass. Bass waves. That's standing in a room. And stuff like this, and that's things that doesn't happen for me or doesn't affect me anymore when I'm using in-ears, and that's really great for me. Also, it's like playing in the studio, as I said. For me, it's a little bit more. I can be a little bit more on the spot somehow because I hear
more focused.
I hear more focused.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really great, and I can.
Do you have a preamp or anything that you run through to get?
Honestly, I just run to the microtube Star Class.
Right.
And which is not a preamp, it's an overdrive pedal, or a distortion pedal, but I just use it with the distortion level really, really down, the overdrive really down, and so it adds some overtones, some harmonics.
Does it have? Is it valve? Is it a valve pedal?
No.
Okay.
No. And that's all. Because I talked a lot with the front of house technicians, what they're doing with my bass sound. If they want me to compress it or to EQ it or I don't know what to do preamp in my signal chain, and they said, the most time we just do a little bit of compression, maybe a little bit of low cut, and that's all. And so I said, okay, if they just do and live with it, I don't have to add anything else.
Sure.
If they can handle it, if they're cool with it, Great. And you know, when you also imagine the signal chain, you know, when you're staying on stage with the bass amp, and maybe you have a microphone there, maybe you have also a DI signal. Yeah, okay, a signal chain, right. When you're staying on stage and you have a mic on your amp, and maybe the front of house technician uses also the DI box and makes something like a mix out of it, it goes such a long way till the mixing desk. And then, even on the mixing desk, the front of house technician has to form the sound that it fits into the venue somehow, because every venue is different. No matter if you're using all the time the same bass and the same amp with the same levels, it will always sound different. You always have to cut or you have to boost something.
Sure.
Which means to me that no matter which signal I give him, he will transform it.
Exactly, yeah.
So
the amp doesn't really matter.
To me.
It's an expensive monitor.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I really like it and still love it to play small gigs, you know, small club gigs to 200 people or something like this, 100 to 200 people.
Do you miss doing that round town? Do you miss not playing those gigs so much round town?
Oh, sorry, I don't understand the question.
Like the club gigs, do you miss playing them? Like, do you wish you played more of those gigs in Berlin? If you're playing more touring festivals?
No. From time to time, I still do.
You still do them? Okay.
Still doing the club gigs, and it's always fun, and I think I will ever do. Always do them till I end my bass playing career or whatever. Because it's always fun to stay on stage with a bass amp, but in small venues. In bigger venues, for me, it's always difficult with a bass amp.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of people who handle it on a different way, and if they're down with it, cool. But for me, it's easier, you know.
Sure. Yeah. So, what's next? What are you doing just now, and what's coming up?
I mean, next week I will do a couple of concerts with a German major artist called Yvonne Katterfeld, but there I just doing just subbing. I'm just doing the bass part there as a sub. And also I will do a couple of festival gigs with a German major act called Namika. It's some kind of pop hip hop stuff. She's a female rapper singer.
Okay. So do you do some key bass?
Yes. Yes, it's a key bass. It's a big part of my job. I think nearly 50% now.
Right.
Live.
Is that cool? Do you like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I really like it because it's a whole new world. It's totally different. It's another instrument. You're still playing bass, but it's another instrument, and it gives you really, really new options. You know.
Yeah.
Just things. Just one bass note rings forever. Yeah, well, 16 bars or 32 bars or something like this, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff like this, you know. Imagine the trouble that you have when you have to do this with a normal bass. You know how much effect stuff you need and to make a bass constant over 16 bars or something like this. You know, just one note. And also to create some crazy synth. You know, I mean. Not so long ago, Skrillex came up and all the dubstep guys with all the wobble basses and for me it's easier to create wobble basses and stuff like this with a real synth instead of a pedal. Yeah. Somehow. Yeah.
Do you use much pedals?
There was a time where I really was into pedals.
Yeah.
And I tried to have a small pedal set up right now with me, just 5 pedals.
Yeah.
And but I still like pedals for sure. I mean, and I will always, because you know how it is. You never stop learning. You know, there's come a new company on the scene, and they build and they're creating some amazing things. You know.
And you know, doing the Bass the World stuff, you're one of the first guys to know about it a lot of the time. You're one of the first guys to know about these new products through
maybe.
Which is good.
Sure.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, time-wise, we probably got to wrap it up there.
Yeah, okay.
But thanks,
Great.
man. That was great. Guys, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye-bye.